Hi, everyone. Welcome to a solo episode of The Quiet Rebellion. I don't have anyone I'm interviewing today. I wanted to talk to you instead about some things that I've been doing in my own life to hopefully encourage you to slow down, to find beauty and flavor in your life. As we move through summer and fall and all of the amazing harvest that many of us have, this is a great time to practice voluntary simplicity, to practice saving the harvest, to practice finding beauty and immersing ourselves in the season inside our homes, but also allowing that to ripple out so that we can have strong local communities that we all need. Everybody wants to be a part of a community. Everybody wants to be a part of a village. But in order for that to happen, we also have to be community members and we have to be villagers. And so what I want to encourage for you is ways to do that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing and provide some ideas that maybe you could do as well. So a little history, how this kind of got started. I've been practicing slow living, seasonal living for a long time, for almost 30 years. It's hard for me to believe in a sense that I've done anything for 30 years. I don't feel like I'm that much of an adult, but I am. And so I'm an old hand in some respects, but like anyone, it's very easy to feel distracted, to get distracted and feel overwhelmed in the current state of things. The world is moving so fast. There's a lot of horrible things going on. We're all probably overinformed and fearful. And I understand all of that. But I have said this before and I stand by it. We cannot impact change on every horrible thing that's going on individually. But what we can do is find one or two things that we can do for others in our communities and focus on those things with time, with money, with energy. And that will impact change on that one particular thing that will then allow us to feel a little bit better, to understand that we are helping people, that we are creating strong communities, and that we can hopefully combat some of the atrocities that are going on. Again, we cannot do all things. And just because we focus on food insecurity does not mean that we don't care about other things that are going on in the world. You cannot do all things, but you can do one or two things and still live, the life that you have to live. You have to work. You have to take care of family members. You have to clean your toilet. We all have those things we have to do, but we can still impact change on one or two things and know that we can still very much care about all of the other things that are going on in the world, right? I am very concerned about a number of issues, but I cannot impact change on all of them. And even if I wanted to, I don't have the hours in the day. And so I focus on one or two things. I focus on sharing what I can on social media. That's really important. If you have a platform, obviously use it. But then I also focus on what is important offline. And to me, that's food insecurity. That's my cause. That doesn't mean I'm not worried about other things, because I absolutely am. There's a ton of women's issues that I'm concerned about, but food insecurity is the thing I have chosen to focus on. And so because I want to focus on those things, what I can do inside and outside my home, I've decided that I need to slow down, that I need to find beauty, and I need to preserve flavor in this season for the long winter ahead here in Montana. And how this idea kind of came to me was that I was looking at the lilacs when they were blooming here in Northwest Montana, and that season, it's beautiful, right? They're everywhere here where I live in Montana and just gorgeous, right? The blooms are so beautiful and the aroma just fills the air. And like, if you're taking a walk, you smell it before you even see them usually. And it's just like, it's this magical bit of the earth and season that is overwhelming in all the best ways if you allow it to be, right? It's easy to ignore if you wanted to, but I chose not to. I choose not to every single year. They're gorgeous. I love the lilacs. And lilacs are edible. For those of you who don't know, the flowers are edible. So what I decided when I was looking at them was that I wanted to make sure that I slow down, that I find and absorb the beauty, and that I preserve flavor, not just of lilacs, but that's how it got started. like intentionally doing things the slow way instead of rushing through just to be productive, to get to the next task, which is so much of what our modern society pushes upon us. Like this idea that our worth only comes from the amount of stuff that we're doing. And we have this glorification of busy, like that we have to be constantly busy and rushing from task to task to task. You don't need to do that. You can just slowly pull the lilacs off the stems. You can slowly make bouquets for beauty. You can take a slow walk without worrying about how many steps or how fast you're doing it or what the incline is or if you're going to get to the top of the trail or whatever. Just slowly do things. Intentionally be slow. Hand wash the dishes. Chop the onions by hand. All of those things will help you enjoy life more. And it will also keep you offline, which is a fine thing. Our brains are increasingly becoming addicted to the dopamine hits we get from checking our phones, which robs us of being absorbed into the world in which we actually live in, like the actual physical world, not the online world. So if we're intentionally slowing our life down, we can sit on the porch and read a book, an actual physical book. We can turn off our notifications so that we can enjoy a walk without, checking messages. All of those things are really important so that we can find authenticity and intentionality in our days. So much of our days are just absorbed and into the ether. They just disappear without us knowing if we're not careful. And so we have to intentionally say, I'm not going to do that. I am going to slow down and do things because I want them to take some time. I'm going to allow for things to be time consuming so that I can enjoy the people I love, the actual people I want to spend time with, so that I can spend time working on causes that are important to me, so that I can find time to write letters and call my elected officials. All of that, super important. But so that I can also find time to rest and rejuvenate and build up people I love and just find the joy in every day instead of letting it slip through my fingers. And while I was looking at those lilacs, I also very much decided I wanted to absorb their beauty in as many ways as I possibly could. And so I made a few bouquets. Not many. I'm not super good at it, and I have cats. I just want to be honest that the cats, just when there's flower bouquets, they just want to play with them. And so I have to, find time. But I did, and I enjoyed them in the house. And then the other thing I did was I decided I wanted to save their flavor because lilacs, again, are edible. And so what I did was make some infused sugar and an infused honey. Not tons, just a small, less than a pint of each, that I will use for baking later in the year, for Christmas presents and those things. And when I was doing that, I made sure to just gently pull the blossoms off the stems instead of cutting them with scissors. Doesn't really make that much difference in time, but it allowed me to just kind of immerse myself in the task, in the smell, in the feel, and enjoy what I was doing. And now that I have those things in my pantry, I have not only saved their beauty, I have saved the flavor. And I will be able to share that with people I love. And I feel like that's really important. And I want to encourage all of you to do the same thing. And so as I have been moving on after the lilacs, of course, they're so fleeting, they don't last so long. I have been doing the same thing. I have been making sure to save as much as I can in terms of flavor. I've been drying lots of herbs, I always do, but I'm also making infused vinegars and herbal salts and the sugars and the honeys. Not tons of each thing, just a small jar of each, sometimes a half pint of something, so that my pantry will be full of all these flavorful, wonderful things that I can use come winter to flavor my food when, because where I am, it's just a great white north for a long time and there's nothing growing and I'm eating from the pantry and I want to give things as much flavor as I can. And when I'm doing that, I will enjoy the slowness of cooking with things that I saved and did slowly in previous seasons. It's a small thing, but it's a wonderful thing that will allow you to really put yourself into the hands of the earth, right? And allow you to just feel good about what you did and not feel like you had to rush through everything. So I want to encourage you to do those things if you can. And as we move through the summer, I want to encourage you, of course, to not buy when you can. Like, we have a current society that we rush through buying things and consuming things as customers that we don't even really need or want, and then we toss it away. And so your wallet will be better, your home will be better, your life will be better, your community, the earth, everything will benefit if we don't shop for things we don't need. If we don't fall victim to like scrolling our phones and seeing the ad or the reel or whatever for some gadget that looks really cool that you'll use maybe twice and will get lost, or you'll end up like giving away to the thrift store or something. So if we can stop shopping for things we don't need and really learn to just make do with what we have, then we can use that extra money for causes that we believe in, or we can save it for a rainy day for when, like, the refrigerator goes out or whatever, or the car needs repair. We can stop having everything just delivered to our door without really thinking about what we're doing. So intentionally slowing down our buying habits can do so much. Now, I have been doing that for a long time, so it's not hard for me. And I just don't buy things unless I really need them. I'm not generally swayed by marketing. But if you are, you're going to have to build that muscle, and it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but it will build, and you will see when you start to see that you're not like having to pay off credit card debt or other things for stuff you don't need. I am not talking about things you need. I'm talking about stuff you don't need. Life will get better. You'll be able to slow down even more because you won't have to work 3 jobs or try to find money from other places to pay off things you didn't really need. It's not easy, but it is doable. And it will increase a kind of slowness and decrease the overwhelm in your life when your home is not full of things you don't need or that you have to figure out what to do with. So if I could encourage you that. And I know like summer, as we're recording this and this will come out, is definitely like the season of yard sales and rummage sales and garage sales and all of that. I love a good yard sale, so I don't want to pretend that I don't do that, right? I do. I definitely do, and I'm definitely guilty of buying books, especially at yard sales. So, but I want to encourage you to not do that unless you really need to. We do this as like an escape, right? We go shopping as an escape from all the other stuff that's going on in our lives, and it's also a dopamine hit. And so what we need to do is find a way to like get that in other ways. And if you can slow down your life, you may just find that you get it by sitting on the porch with a cup of iced tea and reading a book or doing nothing or knitting or sewing or something else. So shopping as an escape does not slow down our lives. It does not help us find beauty. It does not help us find flavor. It only robs us. Go do the yard sales, pick one Saturday a month or something and do it. But try not to do it every weekend, and try not to do it for like 8 hours. Try to just do it, pick a few, hit a few that are close to home or something and go to those. Or the ones that maybe are benefiting some kind of charity that you support and like in your local community. I know some of the places do that here. So pick those, please. And I want you to find time to share and learn from your local community. I know, I have a blog, right? I have lots of amazing resources that you can find on my website. I have the YouTube channel. I do all kinds of things where you can learn from me online. But I would hope, and I do it too, right? If I need to learn how to do something, I will often watch a YouTube video, especially if I need to learn how to do something mechanically really quick. Like, how do I put that whatever together? YouTube is great for that. But if you can find people who are canning in your local community and you don't know how to can, ask them if you can come over and just can the green beans with them so that you can learn and you can help them do it and learn how to do it yourself. Offer to do that if you know how to can or make tinctures. I just did this very recently. I had a few people over who wanted to learn how to make tinctures that I didn't know very well, but I had met at another community event. We're members of the same Signal chat, and somebody mentioned wanting to learn how to make tinctures. And I was like, well, if you guys want to come over, we can do a small little tincture making party. And that's what we did. We sat on the porch. It was a really hot day. It was like 90 and I don't have air conditioning. So we sat outside on the porch. I made cookies. I had herbs from my garden. I had some, vodka and glycerin vinegar, and we made tinctures. And then they went home, and I sent them home with fresh herbs from the garden, and they had a little jar of tincture that they could infuse, and they knew how to do it when they left. So that kind of thing. Are these people that I'm going to hang out with all the time? No, but they are people who are members of my community and who I want to teach and who I want to help, and I want them to be strong community members as well. And it allows me to be a villager. And so I hope that you can continue to find ways to do that in your own life. As someone who is an introvert, I'm an introvert. It is really hard in a way for me to like open up my home and have people, these strangers, over and for a few hours. But I'm so glad I did it. Was I exhausted afterwards? Absolutely. My introvert batteries needed to be recharged. But, I've gotten some messages from the people who were here and they really enjoyed it. And I had a great time while they were here. Do those kinds of things rather than like hoarding the knowledge or gatekeeping it in any way. Yes, I understand. We live in a capitalist society. We all have to make money to some extent, but we can offer to teach small groups or one or two people for without like having it be a really taxing thing on us. So if you're already going to be making the tinctures anyway, or you're already going to be canning anyway, why does it hurt to have a few people come over that you can fit in your house or on your porch comfortably and share with them? Not everything has to be a job or a hustle. I know it's hard because we all need to make money, but there is a line between sharing and making money, and we all have to find it. And we have to find a way to provide mutual aid to our communities, and this is a great way to do it. And if I could just encourage you again to just find ways to help your local community and be slow. And I'm just telling you, when you slow things down in your own home, it will ripple out in ways that you will never see the end of, but that will only benefit other people. And in a world that is increasingly losing its empathy, it seems, I just feel like we could all be a good neighbor, like Mr. Rogers used to say, right? Like, let's just take care of each other and find a way to live slow, beautiful, and flavorful lives.